Hi, I'm Rocco, the Executive Director of the Constitutional Rights Center. Many of you have emailed our center and phoned our center with a question as to whether store owners and police can apply and invoke the Trespass Act when you are trying to exercise your right to a medical or other lawful exemption to not wear a mask in entering premises, and you are refused, and then the police are called and threaten you with the Trespass Act. In the opinion of the CRC, the simple answer is no. The Trespass Act does not apply in these circumstances. By way of example, I will break down and analyze the Trespass Act in Ontario. If you live in another province, consult and read carefully your own Trespass Act. In Ontario, for example, Section 2 of the Trespass Act reads as follows. Every person who is not acting under a right or authority conferred by law, and, this is very important, and who one enters on premises where entry is prohibited under this act, that is the Trespass Act, or engages in activity on premises when the activity is prohibited under the act, or B, does not leave the premises immediately after he or she is directed to do so by the occupier of the premises or a person authorized by the occupier, is guilty of an offense. So you trespass if the owner asks you to leave, only if you are there not acting under a right or authority conferred by the law. Generally speaking, businesses who are operating under municipal and/or provincial license are inviting, there's a general invitation to the public to enter. Once you enter the premises and are exercising your lawful exemption to not wear a mask under the provincial regulations, you are acting under a right or authority conferred by law. The fact that they asked you to leave is only one of the two requirements for you to be trespassing. You also have to be in the premises without a right conferred under law or authority. So you have the right under the law and authority of the Ontario regulations to exercise your masking exemption. And so you only meet one of the two criteria necessary to be trespassing. So in these circumstances under Section 2, you are not trespassing. So in the same way a store owner could not ask you to leave just because you're black or South Asian or homosexual or a woman or any other prohibited grounds under the Human Rights Code, they cannot simply ask you to leave because of your medical or other exemption to the general requirement to mask, because that exemption is part of the law. Your exemption is authority under the law, and therefore you are acting under the law. So the store owner cannot arbitrarily choose to simply say, get out or I'll be charging you with trespass. And in fact, the store owner in those circumstances is breaking the law, as is the police officer who's enforcing that illegal order from the store owner. Often people confuse people who are removed for purported trespass when in fact they're removed for ugly and criminal behavior. So if a person is breaking a law such as mischief or assault or uttering threats, the police can come in, arrest that person, and remove them. That has got nothing to do with trespassing. That's a breach of the criminal law. Many times you've heard the assertion, the business owners say, this is private property, you have to leave. That's not right. It is not private property in the sense of a farm or a residence. It is property on which there is a business that's governed by a license from the municipality or the province. That license to conduct a business whereby members of the public have an open invitation to enter and buy goods and services is governed by the law. That includes the masking laws and the Human Rights Code. You cannot make up your own law when you are licensed by municipal or provincial license and regulations. You cannot treat your business as if it were your private home and put up a no trespass sign at will whenever you feel like it. Because if you could bar people based on race, religion, gender, and other physical and psychological disabilities. So that is just nonsense that's being uttered by the store owners, and it's also nonsense that's being uttered by police officers, and I've seen the same nonsense uttered by Premier Doug Ford. He has a whole team of lawyers at the Attorney General's office. He should know better. But in practical terms, you're in the store, they call the police says, you have to leave, otherwise you're going to be charged under the Trespass Act. What do you do in practical terms? Well, the advice of the Constitutional Rights Center is politely request the name of the officer and his or her badge number and leave. You don't want to get into an altercation with a peace officer who doesn't know the law. It's a very dangerous circumstance to be in. Then, after you have his or her name and badge number, sue both the store and the police officer in court. Thank you very much for listening to this short newsletter, and thank you very much for supporting the Constitutional Rights Center.